I'm loving seeing the Democrats fail. I'm loving seeing the implosion. I don't know what's going to happen at the DNC convention. Either it'll be mediocre or something very entertaining. Whatever one it's going to be, all I know is I will be the one who is winning, as will all of you, because we're going to be witnessing the liberals panic and scream. And as we get closer and closer to August, it's becoming very clear. Everybody knows it. Nobody wants to say it except for me, because I'm going to be a very, very big old huge prick, be in everybody's face about it, about Biden's clear mental decline. I mean, let's face it. His body isn't in tip-top shape, and I've seen people in their 90s more alert and aware of their surroundings than Joe Biden, the president of, get this, these United States. So first of all, let's pull up this video here as a whole list of congressional Democrats, goodness gracious, Cretaceous, are coming out of the woodwork saying Biden's got to go. Shout out again to Case Study QB, who's wrongly being censored.
For the first time, a sitting Democratic member of the Senate saying out loud what many...
Correction, a member of the Senate now, not just the House.
...of his colleagues are saying privately.
Donald Trump is on track, I think, to win this election and maybe win it by a landslide and take with him the Senate and the House.
Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado, echoing what he and two other senators, John Tester and Sherrod Brown, told colleagues in a closed-door meeting. They don't think Joe Biden can win.
I think that we could lose the whole thing, and it's staggering to me.
Coming on the same day as another House Democrat, Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, joined the group calling for Biden to step aside.
I spent the week hearing from my constituents about their strong concerns about prosecuting the case against Donald Trump.
But most Democratic Party heavyweights still backing the president.
I'm with Joe.
Oh, there was Joe. Oh, they're all with Joe. But you know what they're all doing behind closed doors? They're crying and they're weeping.
We're riding Biden.
The president remaining defiant and his allies urging support.
Every minute we spend focusing on questions and concerns about his debate rather than questions and concerns about Trump's leadership is a day that we are missing.
Some Democrats have concerns behind closed doors, describing Biden as shaky and expressing real doubts he has what it takes to beat Donald Trump. One Democratic House member telling NBC News, quote, "People are very frustrated that the president appears defensive and in denial."
Oh, not only in denial, but I want to pull up a video here. Remember good old George Snuffleupagus? Georgie boy? You know, hey, this is a video that's been going viral. Hey, Georgie, tell us how you really feel about your little interview with Biden.
Hey, how you doing? What do you think? Do you think Biden should step down? You talked to him more than anybody else have lately. And you can be honest. You don't think he can serve 4 more years?
I don't think he can serve 4 more years. Oh, my God. Now, why is that? Well, on yesterday's show, we talked about the fact that Biden recently had a Parkinson doctor, an expert, visit the White House. Now, Parkinson's disease is very serious. You know, I think we've all known our fair share of loved ones and people who have dealt with that horrific disease. But the fact that one is actually visiting the White House and President Biden being in the advanced age that he is, 81, it is clear to me and should be abundantly clear to all of you that we want somebody who's more physically fit. And there are so many health concerns about Biden. You know, the man is also attached to a CPAP machine when he goes to sleep to help him breathe, which means, you know what that tells me? Oxygen's not getting to his brain.
You noticed anything that gives you a red flag as a doctor?
Oh, yeah. I see him 20 times a day in clinic. I mean, it's ironic because he has just such classic features of neurodegeneration. I mean, word finding difficulties, and that's not, oh, I couldn't find the word. That's from degeneration of the word retrieval area.
He's also overcome stuttering, though. Could that be part of that, too?
No, this is not a palatal issue or a speech discrepancy, which is very different from a lemma dysfunction, actual word retrieval, where you pick a similar question or talk around the issue, plus the rigidity, monotone voice.
Wait, go back to that, the rigidity. What do you mean?
Rigidity, loss of arm swing, standing up lordotically. You notice when he turns, it's kind of end block turning. It's not a quick turn.
Even Donald Trump is able to move faster. Hell, I don't want to give praise when it's not really deserved, but even Nancy Pelosi seems to be more flexible. Ugh, that's a horrible image to put in your head. More flexible than Joe himself.
That's one of the hallmarks of Parkinson's is rigidity and bradykinesia, slow movement. And he has that hallmark, especially with the low voice that said was a cold, hypophonia. A small monotone voice like this over time is a hallmark of Parkinsonism. I could have diagnosed him from across the mall.
Here are some of the symptoms from Parkinson's. We just had him up there on the screen. If we can put him back. What about the?
You know, when Daniel and I were covering the 2020 primary, talking about on the show, you know what was interesting? We both kept on saying the same thing. He's on a decline, and it's going to get worse. And the question we brought up to a lot of liberals and some of our close Democrat friends was, how are you guys going to react if Biden has a true mental and physical breakdown, like his body is no longer able to truly function? To which we were responded back of, oh, we didn't understand. This is all a lie. This is false information. Oh, you guys must be eating and reading and following Trump and Russian disinformation. No. Now, I have gotten a few messages back from some of these people, especially now, like saying, oh, you must be enjoying yourself. Oh, you must be on cloud nine. Oh, you must find this really funny. To which I have to say, oh, yeah, absolutely, I do. I do. Oh my God, I'm really enjoying this. And if this makes me an egomaniac, this makes me a jackass, fine. I don't care. I am loving every minute of it. But on the other hand, too, no, I'm not, because this man's the president of the United States. And, you know, I kind of want the captain of the ship to be alert at all times. So on the one hand, I'm laughing. On the other hand, I'm kind of crying. But for the most part, I'm kind of laughing because I called this out 4 years ago, and it feels so good, and I'm eating it up like a fine meal, like a delicious cooked steak, like a delicious pork chop, like a delicious chicken. I'm just eating it up like a nice fine grilled salmon. I'm enjoying it. But this is pathetic. Democrats, your old dog doesn't have that dog in him.
The movement. Some people have pointed out the way he walks. Sometimes it's not very fast, small steps. Is that something that is common in people who are battling a disease like Parkinson's?
Yeah, it's a hallmark. Shuffling gait, we call that. So little steps. Loss of arm swing from the rigidity. When we walk, we have a nice cadence. You notice he doesn't really swing his arms. And
Dahlia, I see what you did there. Don't worry. Kamala will save us because she can imagine what can be, unburdened by what has been. 10 out of 10. Right now, you're in the lead for the most life-changing comment. That's right, folks. I want all of you to close your eyes, even while you're driving the car. No, don't. If you're on the road right now and you're listening to this audio, keep your eyes on the road. But imagine what can be, unburdened by what has been, and not no be.
Block turning, meaning he kind of pivots around his foot. If you said, hey, President Biden, he wouldn't go like this. So, yeah.
But I also know, and tell me if I'm wrong here, it's very hard to diagnose Parkinson's, isn't it? It's not simple. I mean, I've heard that it can be.
It's one of the easier movement disorders to diagnose, actually.
Right,
but it's so clinic. There's very little other. And I'm a Democrat. I always say about this.
Right.
It's just like this guy is not a hard case.
But I've had relatives who have gone through neurological issues, and I've heard that sometimes Parkinson's is not very easy to nail. You have to take a lot of tests.
It's early on. If you're just presented with like hallucinations, that could be a variety of things, or just the cognitive problems. That could be Alzheimer's versus Parkinsonism, and that becomes a little nebulous. But once you start manifesting the hallmark motor symptoms,
right?
Slow movement, rigidity, mass facies, hypophonia. I mean, if a med student did not pick Parkinson's on the test, they'd be remediated.
So let me ask you, you're a Democrat, you're a doctor. You sound like you're frustrated with what the White House is saying.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because, I'm an American before everything. And I look at it and say, when I used to see Russia, Soviet Union, North Korea, when they just make outrageous things, like when North Korea can't keep the lights on and they say, oh, it was some faulty power thing.
Yeah. Hey, you know what's funny? And see, here's the thing. Especially a little bit of a guilty pleasure. I do like to look at some of the propaganda art, from the 1940s and 50s, especially from the Second World War, hell, even from World War I, World War II, and even during the Cold War era, where, we had, especially with the Soviets and China and North Korea, that their propaganda art. And you know what? You knew it was propaganda. And there's a fantastic film that the Soviets made in 1950, and it's propaganda to the core. I mean, there's no way of ignoring it. But I mean, it's so bad that it's deliciously good. But see, at least you saw it. And we knew, like, okay, this is BS. Even the people in the Soviet Union knew it was BS. Okay, they just couldn't say it out loud, but they knew it was BS. But here, in this day and age, in the free world, oh, don't mind the dribbling, drooling, stuttering, stammering, crapping his pants president of the United States. Yes, his whole administration and corporate media saying, oh, everything's fine. No, it wasn't. Hell, I'm willing to bet all of you in my audience watching right now, no matter where you stand politically, no matter what generation you're part of, even you called it out. You saw it. But yet they lied. They lied. They lied indeed. And by the way, hold on real quick here. Kamala can cackle cocks that can be unburdened by cocks that can be. Eric, I think you defeated Danielle. That is a life-changing comment. 10 out of 10. Life-changing comment.
I kind of hate that kind of stuff. They had 4 years. My own party had 4 years to find, this was a wreck in slow motion. And they had 4 years to find, out of 350 Americans, one person that could take the place. And here we are the day before school trying to do the homework and replace a guy who's got a neurodegenerative disease.
Dr. Pitt.
Yes, and it's sad. It's sad and pathetic. But you want to know what's really sad? Right here. Biden wants to serve until 2029. U.S. President Joe Biden is determined to stay in office for a full second term if reelected, according to the White House press secretary. That's right, her. The press secretary. Biden did so poorly in the TV debate with Republican challenger Donald Trump 2 weeks ago that dozens of media outlets, prominent Democrats, and major party donors urged him to step aside. The 81-year-old has refused, insisting that he can beat Trump in November. Does President Biden commit to serving a full second term if reelected? Well, the White House press secretary said yes. And never once has the White House press secretary ever lied to us. Biden himself told BSDNC host Joe Scarborough and Mika Blink Twice Brzezinski on Monday that he was firmly committed to winning a second term and that he was not going anywhere. Meanwhile, major donors to the Democrats have been discussing an elegant way for Biden to pull out, to drop out of the race, according to the New York Times. While Nobel Prize winner and New York Times columnist Paul Krugman, oh, you go ahead, tell us how you feel, really, Paulie, urged him to give way for Vice President Kamala Harris so he could be unburdened by what has been and not be burdened by what will be and has become and not be burdened by the stuff that was there a few weeks ago, right? On Tuesday, Politico published a poll showing that Biden would lose the election to Trump, but Hillary might win. I know. Hill Dog. I swear to God, I could see her flying into Chicago like Wicked Witch of the West style. Like, or doing that laugh. So continuing on. So the pollster even said that a Clinton-Harris... oh, God. Oh, God, no. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, man. No. 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 The pollster even said that a Clinton-Harris ticket would be the strongest against Trump, beating the Republican by 3 percentage points. Clinton has blamed everyone from the FBI to Russia for her loss to Trump in 2016. Hell, she even blamed all of you people, too. So let's actually hear from people in the street, though. How do they really feel about Biden?
I don't know. I think, it's up to his campaign. Granted, he has the mental capacity and the willpower to push through. He's an older guy. And it's
you think
tough.
He's got the mental capacity?
I really do hope so, because it's sad to see.
You are a vote for Joe to stay. Let's ask somebody else. Let's ask this guy right here. Hey, hi. Hey, can I ask you a quick question?
What's going on, brother?
What's your name?
Chase Gallagher.
So, Joe Biden, should he call it quits?
Yeah, I think he should.
Why?
He's just not competent. I didn't watch the debate, but I watched a podcast on it, and they were talking about how the Democratic Party was talking about kicking him.
Okay.
So I guess his team isn't playing with him anymore.
So he's got to go.
I think so.
What are you listening to right now?
I'm just listening to some music. End of the beginning.
Oh.
Hey, speaking of which, hey, Here's a porn stash journalist right here. Remember this guy, this jackass who kept on talking down to Bernie Sanders supporters? Man, it feels so good seeing all these people and their credibility ruined. I mean, I'm just feasting on this carcass.
I was with Bernie Sanders, who was campaigning for Biden and for local Democrats last week, and each event had sort of a therapy session vibe. And it reminded me a lot of the mood I'd find from Democrats after 2016 and the shell shock they had after losing to Donald Trump. It really was comparable to that, where people wanted solace. They wanted confidence that Biden could bounce back from some people. They wanted, Bernie was approached by people who were asking him to unendorse Biden or to run it. One man I talked to had a run Bernie run sign, but a real panic at the grassroots that every Democrat is having to lay hands on and deal with right now. And from the people who've been organizing the grassroots.
This guy's sitting here talking like he's an expert. You know, I mean, all of this really could have been avoided. If Bernie actually had a soul, if he had a spine, if he had the balls, if he had the heart, if he had the mind, if he actually had the courage, you know, I mean, he really could have made a name for himself forever in American politics as being a fighter, as an independent. He could have fought. He could have gone all the way. But he wasn't who he said he was. But, you know, I mean, I'm pretty sure all those columnists, all those pro-Hill Dog people, yes, even all those people from 2020 who are all for Biden, right? I bet all of you are looking at the current polling numbers because I'm pretty sure some of them have looked at the numbers. But voter turnout for this Democratic primary was so abysmal and poor and lackluster. It pales in comparison to what we saw in 2016 and in 2020. What a shame you'll never get those numbers again, eh, Democrats? I mean, a lot of us are just laughing at you now.
I heard talk to a lot of them who said they were ready. They were ready for what the Biden campaign told them to be ready for on Friday, which was we went toe-to-toe with Trump. We solved all the problems we had about the age question, and now go to it and win voters. And they said they couldn't do it. So they day by day, people who've been organizing Democrats for this whole resistance era are saying they're losing confidence and they need more assurance from Biden himself.
Yeah.
All their conversations are about this. I was with Bernie Sanders, who was campaigning for Biden.
Now, by the way, again, if you just tuned in, I did read an article talking about a Clinton Kamala ticket, which is pretty depressing when you think about it. But it would be pure gold if it were to just blow up again. But I do want to point this out right now, again, because, folks, finally, just a quick reminder, Biden is biting the hand that feeds him because there's a lot of Democrat elites, Democrat donors, and as we all know, donors supersede voters that are asking Biden to drop out. Not for the good of the country, but for the good of their bottom line. I mean, come on, let's be clear here, folks. The Democrats are not going to give a damn period about the working class people. They are going to care about the feelings of their donors. Man, Chicago is going to be an interesting area, at least for a few 4 days here in the city in August. It'll be a sight to see.
Also say something that I find that's very, I wouldn't say it's funny. I would say this very interesting.
It's funny.
Also say something that I find that's very, I wouldn't say it's funny. I would say this very interesting. Is the same elites that he talks about in my party were the same elites in 2020. I mean, sorry, in 2016 in the presidential primary.
Whoa. Oh, you're going to go to 2016? Sorry, I shouldn't be pausing so much. I apologize. I've been called out for that, and I'm trying to be better.
The same elites that he talks about in my party were the same elites in 2020. I mean, sorry, in 2016 in the presidential primary that said everybody had to come together behind him to beat Bernie Sanders when they demanded everybody drop out so that he could be the only person to beat Donald Trump. So I think it's ironic that he's telling people now, those same people that said we have to be with Joe Biden, that they could challenge him at the convention. So say something.
Everything is falling apart just as planned. And I know there's probably some liberals who are probably typing in the comments section or either that hate watching, to which I have to say, don't hate watch. This show is therapy for you. We're going to help you. I will help you be better. I'm going to help you be better. My audience will help you be better because it's finally out there. So clear, so free for all of us to see. Yes, it's the donors and the lobby groups and the establishment elite that decide who's going to be the Democrat nominee. Controversial statement, 3, 2, 1, the Republican primary is more Democratic than a Democratic primary. I don't know what's going to happen here in Chicago, but I can promise this. Democrats, Biden is starting to decrease more and more. Everyone is testing the water. You see, what I find funny is we have all these media pundits and even Democrat politicians. You know, like how when you go to the lake or to the ocean or to the river and you just put your foot in the water to see how cold it is? That's what all those liberals and Democrats are doing right now. Gee, if I say or criticize Biden, how bad will the temperature be? Come on in. The water's fine. The water's just fine. Come on in. It's okay. It's okay. But nothing you do is going to save the sinking ship that is the Democratic Party. And so, yes, I am laughing at this horrible, dark joke of a senile old man, mental decline, potentially has Parkinson's, and so many other issues. It is rather funny to me. And I'm not laughing just because, you know, I was proven correct. I'm laughing at how, quote unquote, serious people are trying to come to terms with something. They're trying to come to terms about how they lied to themselves and so many others. The guilt trip is delicious, and I love it. I'm loving every minute of it. This isn't the most important election of our lifetime, but it is the most hilarious, as it should be.